This is funny. On a video, I said I'm doing a family tree of the Anunnaki because the ones that's out there, some of them are kind of mixed up and things like that. So anyway, this person then wrote Yahweh is Enlil, the creator of Adam, which is so wrong. I've done a video on my Patreon page with evidence showing who Yahweh was, and it wasn't Enlil. In fact, Yahweh, the name, only is a few thousand years old compared to Adam, who would have been 100,000 years old, not Adamu, which I'm guessing is what you're referring to when you're saying the creator of Adam. You're actually getting two mixed up from Adam to Adamu. But and Adamu was over in South Africa 300,000 years ago. So anyway, either way, it wasn't Enlil, it was Enki that created the Adamu. So anyway, I asked for evidence from this person. And do you know what he done? He sent me one of those family trees that's online for the Anunnaki, which is the whole reason why I'm doing mine, because they get mixed up. And he's proved my point. So thank you. That's why people should look at my family tree of the Anunnaki.
Morning star be the same being as Lucifer, whose name in Latin...
I'd have a few problems with this because, one, Lucifer was only ever mentioned once, and that was in the 1978 New International Version. The actual original translation of the word was adversary, and there was plenty of adversaries, including serpents, which were Anunnaki people that didn't like the fact that Enki had children with humans that gave Adam and Eve. Anyway, so that's the first problem. The second problem is Lucifer, if you go by the New International Version or even the other versions that show it was an adversary, such as Young's literal translation, he died, basically, not on a cross or anything. He came down, had a chat with God, one of the gods, which was an Anunnaki, and lost a battle and was pushing up daisies.
You know, God is a perfect and righteous judge. I do trust God.
Gods have been proven to be the Anunnaki alien race called gods. Go to my website, scroll down to where it says click here on the homepage, and that's your evidence. But the funny thing is, this gentleman said about God being a judge. The actual Anunnaki, as written in their texts that predate the Bible, that the Bible copied from, the Anunnaki actually used 7 judges. So when they had disputes amongst themselves, they actually would have a council of 7 that would basically vote on the outcome of such a thing. So, for example, when Alula had a fight with King Anu here on Earth, and did something naughty, bit off a part of King Anu, the 7 judges decided to listen to Enki, who said send him to Mars to die. Fallen angels. This person's going to show us the evidence where the Anunnaki were fallen angels. Technically they were Gigis, but I'm not going to split hairs on that. So I know where the evidence is. You all know that I know where the evidence is. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this person shows me the evidence is. Lots of people have asked me for a family tree of the Anunnaki, and I've actually started it now, and I will let everyone know when it's done. And I'm also breaking down who they were in other places with different names. Now, I know there's a lot of family trees on the internet, and you'll find that each one seems to have something slightly different from another. So with my knowledge, I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else, but I'm just saying that with my knowledge, I'm going to be creating my own family tree, which for me will be the definitive family tree, as opposed to these other ones that all seem to have different things in them. So as soon as that's done, keep following, and I will let you know when it's finished. It won't be probably the end of the week. Thanks.
One approach to investigating dowsing involves using instruments like night vision cameras, electromagnetic field, EMF detectors, or radio frequency, RF scanners, to see if there are any measurable changes in the environment when dowsing is being performed. However, these attempts have not provided conclusive evidence supporting the effectiveness of dowsing. This doesn't take into account that there are technological advances every year. Here are just some of the groundbreaking cameras that see way beyond the human range. Infrared cameras, developed since the mid-20th century for various applications, widely used in night vision and thermal imaging. Ultraviolet cameras, developed in the mid-20th century for scientific research and forensics, capturing ultraviolet light. X-ray cameras, developed in the late 19th century, widely used in medical imaging, security, and industrial inspection. Thermal imaging cameras, developed in the mid-20th century, used for heat detection and thermal imaging in various fields. FLIR cameras, forward-looking infrared, introduced in the 1960s, used for thermal imaging in military, industrial, and scientific applications. LiDAR cameras, LiDAR technology, light detection and ranging, has been in development since the 1960s, using laser light for measuring distances and creating high-resolution maps. What I'm trying to say is just because we can't see something today doesn't mean we won't be able to in the future. I know I've been mainly talking about the visual range for dowsing, but the same applies to all other senses we have, and technologies that cover other frequencies. They evolve every year. As it stands, we can't quantify dowsing using technology. That doesn't mean it's not real. We couldn't quantify how bats flew almost blind until we invented sonar. Maybe dowsing is done by spirit guides helping us? Like the way we use a spirit board or Ouija board, the spirit uses our own energy to help it move the glass around the board. Maybe dowsing is the same. Maybe we won't ever see or trace an effect because the spirit uses our qi and aura. Qi or qi, in traditional Chinese culture, qi or qi refers to the vital life force or energy that flows through living beings. It is an important concept in various Chinese martial arts, traditional Chinese medicine, and philosophy. Aura. An aura refers to the distinctive atmosphere or energy field that surrounds a person, place, or object. In metaphysical and spiritual contexts, it is believed that auras can reveal information about one's emotions, health, and spiritual state. The problem with dowsing is unless you do it yourself and get results, it's easy to be a skeptic. The same goes for ghosts. Until you've used a spirit board and seen the glass move to the correct answers, you can dismiss it. Let's see what skeptics say about how dowsing works. Dowsing, an ancient practice involving walking over a field with a Y-shaped twig or stick, known as a divining rod, to detect underground water, has been known to vary in effectiveness among individuals. Despite being widely regarded as pseudoscience, I personally find the concept of dowsing plausible due to a hypothetical mechanism I have envisioned. This mechanism is based on the idea that humans have a natural predisposition to recognize certain landscape features, such as potential water sources. Drawing from psychological concepts like priming, where the brain becomes ready to notice expected events, I propose that thinking about water primes the mind to anticipate its presence. Stepping into an area where water is likely, this mental readiness could manifest as subtle movements or twitches in the fingers. Even if these
This person wrote, so you haven't checked out the DNA that was left on the Shroud of Turin. So, in other words, Jesus' DNA. In order to know that it was Jesus' DNA, you'd need a controlled sample of that. In other words, someone would need to go back in time, grab a sample of that, and then say that that was Jesus. Otherwise, it could be absolutely anybody's. Unfortunately, I know you want it to be Jesus, and then you also wrote, and also the Holy Grail, the blood that Jesus left. Again, if you could prove to me that it was Jesus's, and that still doesn't negate the fact that Jesus possibly was a real character. I've done the video on who Jesus' real father was. You won't be able to debunk it. It's on YouTube. You go watch it. No one will, because it's got evidence. So when I'm saying about what I say, I'm not saying that Jesus wasn't a real character, even though he was a hybrid, Anunnaki. So that still means I'm right. Sorry. Someone posted this on one of my videos. They did find the blood of Jesus on the shroud. Now, in order to know, I've already done a video on this before, but in order for you to know that it's Jesus' blood and not anyone else's whatsoever, you would actually need to have what they call a control blood sample, which means you would actually have to have more than likely Jesus in front of you, or a signed affidavit saying that it was definitely Jesus's blood that you've got the control of. So then when you look at the shroud, the blood on the shroud, you can say, yes, it's a match. Otherwise, you've just got blood. I don't know if you can grasp that or not. Regardless of what type of blood it is, all you have is blood. You need to be able to connect it to a particular character. And you've got no control. You've got no DNA, no nothing whatsoever of Jesus. So you need to have that control. Sorry, it's just the way the world works. Wow, this person's going to look a bit silly at the end of this video. So basically this person said that I'm book-wise and Zecharia Sitchin's book has made me blind. Unfortunately, I have done a documentary, 3-hour documentary, where I used evidence not from Zecharia Sitchin. I used it from the original text, museums, etc., etc. And that is the video that no one's debunked, no one will ever do, because it's got evidence. So where you're saying that I'm copying Sitchin, go watch that video. It's on my website, ourtruehistory.co.uk. Scroll down to where it says click here, and you'll see I actually say on the video, I'm not using Zecharia Sitchin, so I go to other sources. So unfortunately, one of us, I'm not going to mention any names, either you or me, has now made the other one look a little bit silly.
Leedskalnin claimed to have discovered the secrets of the ancient Egyptians and believed he understood the construction techniques used to build the pyramids. He allegedly moved the massive coral stones, some weighing several tons, using simple tools and a mysterious method that he kept secret. Witnesses reported seeing him use hand tools, winches, and a tripod to lift and move the stones. There are reports and stories suggesting that witnesses claim to see Leedskalnin move stones with his hands, as if he had the ability to levitate them. These claims are often anecdotal and lack scientific verification. Leedskalnin was notoriously secretive about his construction methods, working at night and away from the public eye. This secrecy fueled speculation and myths about his abilities, including the idea that he had rediscovered ancient anti-gravity or levitation techniques. Some people suggested that Leedskalnin had knowledge of electromagnetic or sound wave technologies that allowed him to manipulate the stones. Mainstream will have you believe that Edward built the castle using normal techniques, such as basic principles of leverage, counterweights, and simple machines to move the massive stones. However, in 1986, when the gate malfunctioned, it took 6 men and a crane to remove and reinstall the 9-ton gate that Ed had originally installed by himself. During the repair, it was revealed that Ed had used a metal shaft placed in a hole drilled through the stone, strategically positioned to perfectly balance the gate. This shaft was supported by a truck bearing. The reason behind the gate's breakage was simply the rusting of the bearing. After replacing the bearing and shaft, it required further repairs in 2005. Nevertheless, the gate is no longer as effortlessly movable as it once was. This means a team of experts couldn't fix a door that a single man created. Mainstream won't tell you this. So how did Ed achieve this feat? Ed believed that the vital force in the universe
to create the idea of certain kinds of human-animal hybrids.
This research is referring to mermaids as being hybridized people, humans. However, I did a documentary, and so far all my documentaries, no one's ever debunked. I'm the one that's told you where Atlantis is, I'm the one that's told you who Jesus' father was, who Yahweh's real name was, as an Anunnaki, etc., etc. And yes, I have done one on mermaids, and with the way I research, it's second to none, and you will find the Anunnaki were mermaids, not humans. And that's all backed up with evidence. So if anyone's interested, it's actually on my Patreon page, that documentary, patreon.com/OurTrueHistory. So it's up to you. Either go by the evidence that this Anunnaki told us and showed us, yes, carvings of mermaids with Anunnakis. There seems to be a lot of weird people today saying things that absolutely have no evidence whatsoever. Anyway, this person said that Enki and Enlil were not real, and I double-checked that. I said, are you saying that Enlil and Enki were just planets, as you said in the first comment? And they wrote back saying, yeah. So in other words, this character here that's Enki, carved from the ancient times, was actually a planet. And so was this carving here in a museum. I think it's in Iraq. Yes, it's Iraq's museum. And then also Enki, the planet. So in these ancient texts here, it says kissed her. This is talking about a woman, as you can probably tell. And then poured his you-know-what into her womb. So I'm asking this person, how do you explain 2 million ancient tablets talking about Enki as a real character when you say that it was just a planet? And it goes on. There's loads of things about Enki creating humans, etc.
You'll be put into a system where you are essentially...
This is Alex Collier. A few people have asked me my thoughts on him, and I've said before, some he gets right, some things he gets wrong. On this occasion, he's got something slightly wrong, so he's referring to the reincarnation cycle of a human, and he says that you go back round and reincarnate. You don't. You don't have a soul. It's an entity that joins with you. And the reason why he's slightly wrong is because if you had a soul and you went round and reincarnated into someone else, that means that person doesn't have a soul, or that person now has 2 souls. And then when they die, 3 souls into the next person, before you know it, millions of souls. So if you watch his video, he's correct about the soul group and everything else, but like I said, some things he gets right, some things he gets wrong. So we don't have a soul, it's an entity that joins with us. If anyone's following me, please read this, because it's basically a person saying that if I did a video about Ishmael Perez, all my followers would leave because the video will show that I'm wrong, even though it actually doesn't. It shows Ishmael Perez is wrong. So I did a video that's previous to this one. If you're interested, it's 10 minutes long, because obviously there was a lot of errors in Ishmael Perez's videos. So basically, if you feel I'm wrong, obviously my followers would let me know and tell me, show me evidence when my evidence is wrong. The problem with this is this person was quoting a lot of Ishmael's stuff, and I kept asking for evidence, and of course this person couldn't give me any evidence and just kept telling me, go watch Ishmael, which I did, and then I ended up finding loads of errors with Ishmael, and me using my evidence, I prove them wrong. But all I'm saying is, please stop. No one asked me to watch other people's videos, because if I find errors, I will end up doing videos. So just follow and learn. This is Ishmael Perez, apparently, and I've been told that by just 2 people, in fact, that his research is correct and mine's wrong. So I thought I'd have a look at his videos, and of course I didn't get very far without finding errors. So I thought, instead of doing a long one, which I will do, his video's an hour and 20, so I'll probably end up debunking pretty much everything that he says. But let's just go through some of the things now.
Everybody in our community, when it comes to the subject matter of the Anunnaki, everybody in our community is gearing towards Enki is the good guy and Enlil is the bad guy.
So basically, that's correct, because here is the translations of the tablets where Enki created the very first Homo sapien, and there was about 6 that ended up with deformities before they managed to get the correct one, and including a woman, by the way. So yeah, anyway, so basically here it shows that no matter how bad the description looked, weak hands, a man with broken, paralysed feet, he gave him bread. Basically, he could have just let them die. So when you start reading out what he did for these people, he even gave them jobs as well in the palaces. The one of them are the ones that could still work, available to work. So basically, yeah, compared to the other Anunnakis, which I'll go through in a sec, Enki was actually quite nice, and certainly compared to Enlil. Now, let's have a listen to what he carries on saying.
It's like 90% of our community, all right? Those are the people that are just buying the narrative without...
Yes, because it's, if you actually read more than what you're just about to quote, he's going to quote one reference here, or one book.
Fully questioning the fact that perhaps these ancient records could have been messed with by the Luciferian forces, right, that took over the affairs of our world. So
basically what he's saying is these tablets here, now I don't know about you, I can't control Alt and Delete on these tablets. So he's saying that they could have been changed in the mud. 2 million of these particular clay tablets that we keep digging up now have been changed, reburied. Yeah, you get my point. So this guy's not as good as the other people seem to have said he was. Sorry to the guy if you're actually watching this. It's not my fault. This is what I do. Yeah, sorry.
I would like to start off by reading a summary of one of the tablets called the Adrahasis.
So basically he uses that one there and then says that we all go by that one tablet.
The Epic of the Adrahasis. Okay, so this is according to what everybody in our community is basing their so-called facts regarding the Anunnaki.
No, it's not. Well, not me anyway, because as I just pointed out here, I use different translations from various different sources. If you watched any of my videos, you'd know that. So, for example, here is some translations called The Flood Story, which we'll know what that is. This is the one of the tablets they've got. This is translations in the Oxford University website. Side wall standing at my side. Side wall, I will speak the words to you. Basically, he's telling Enki, the nice one, is telling Noah, or Zazudra as he was called back then, to build an ark. So we've actually got the other version of that with the Ivan Finkel. I'm just trying to find it now. Oh, there he is. So here, Ivan Finkel's got the actual another tablet. So I don't go by, even though the Atrahasis talks about it, we've now got the Atrahasis, this tablet that this gentleman's got in the British Museum, and the other one that I've just translated, plus obviously the Epic of Gilgamesh, etc. And if you look down there, Enki is the one he's referring to that tells Noah. So it's basically the same story. So Enki's pretty good, in my opinion, that he's actually telling us, saving us, really, to be honest with you. And here in the Atrahasis, basically they're telling that they have to create a flood, and Enki says they're basically forcing Enki, let us make far-sighted Enki swear, because Enki wanted to save us. So far it's looking pretty good. Now I must just say, the reason, Ishmael Perez, that I'm doing this video is because this gentleman here kept having a go at me, even though he had no evidence. So I'm not sure where you give your evidence from, but I kept asking him for evidence for the things he was saying, and he had none whatsoever, including, which we'll go through in a sec, some of the other bits you say. So there's another bit here where Enki saves Inanna, where no one else bothered, and Enlil didn't bother. So there's another bit there, just showing you that Enki does have a heart. So let's have a look what you've got to say for yourself on this section.
From their union, the younger gods were born, and they became a noisy and unruly bunch. Apsu,
he's having to read. I mean, clearly, you guys know what I'm like. I can do a 5-hour live chat without him to read anything. But anyway.
Stirred by the noise, plotted to eliminate the younger gods. However, one of the gods, Ea, which of course later to other translations, according to other translations, right, for those that understand the Greek mythology, according to the
So just to let him know, just in case he's interested, Ea was actually the original name for Enki, because Eng is Lord and Ki is Earth. So he got given that name. So there's no way he would have had that name before he even came to Earth. So Ea was his actual name. Now, if you go back and look at many of the tablets, you'll see that is the case. So that's another one that is...
Spread by post sought a champion Marduk, the god of Babylon, stepped forward and offered to face Tiamat.
So here he's reading the... sounds like he's now reading a bit from the Enuma Elish. But anyway, so here it's basically Marduk is telling the story that he destroyed a planet. Now, I don't know if this Ishmael knows it's a planet that we're referring to here with Tiamat. But anyway, let's have a carry on listening.
In exchange for being declared the supreme god. Hence the supreme god.
So basically, Marduk destroys Tiamat and becomes the supreme god.
Think about it. There was some sort of a consolidation from polytheism into monotheism.
So just a little advert time here, because I am the guy that worked out who Yahweh really was. It's on my Patreon page. This video here is documentary, 20 minutes long. And you'll work out as you watch this with the evidence, I will show evidence, that what he's saying there, you don't have to guess, because I give you the evidence for it. He obviously doesn't have that evidence. I guess I'm the only person that's ever worked that out, so it's not his fault. So let's have a look at what he says here.
Threat posed by Tiamat sought a champion, Marduk, right? This is according to these tablets, guys, to prove that Marduk, hence Belial Baal, right? Belial Baal, who is what? He's one of the fallen entities. He's one.
So Bel Marduk is another name for Marduk, but he obviously doesn't know that. But I cover that in my Patreon video on who Yahweh was.
One of these, draconian reptilians that have been running the show.
So he said that Marduk is a draconian reptilian. So let's have a look at what Marduk looks like. Yes, look at that forked tongue. Wow, look at all those scowls on him. Let's have a look at another. This is just obviously a cylinder seal. It's only a few inches high. And here's another carving of Marduk. Obviously, this is in stone, so it's difficult to see. But you can get the idea that it's not too dissimilar from his father, who looks like this. Now, there is no scowls on these Anunnakis whatsoever. Now, if you actually look at what the Anunnaki carvings are like, they're immaculate and brilliant, but they don't have scowls, or they don't have any lizard features whatsoever. So I have done many a video asking people to show me evidence that there were lizards or reptilians or anything like that. And of course, no one ever comes back. So Ishmael, if you are listening, please, please, and don't show me those two squashed figurines. For crying out loud, don't do that. That would be embarrassing. So obviously we've got thousands of these type of carvings for all the Anunnakis, but there is two squashed. I didn't bother showing those, but there's two squashed ones that David Icke said were reptilian, and therefore the whole of the Anunnaki were reptilian. Bearing in mind we are the offspring off of Anunnaki. I've already showed you that a second ago. In their image. So as far as I'm aware, I'm not a reptilian either. So if you can show me anything other than the two squashed carvings, now bearing in mind we do have thousands of these that show what they actually really look like. So I don't know. It's blame this guy. Don't blame me. Blame the TikTok guy. Because I normally try, and I always say, are you sure you want me to watch this guy's videos? I said this to him because I will find things wrong. It's not your fault, Ishmael. It's his. I said, I will find things wrong. I can't help it. I will do a video. I've done it to Billy. I've done it to other researchers. It's not what I want to do. So people don't tell me to watch someone else's video, because I will find errors and I'll point them out. So anyway, sorry, it's not. This is a follow-up to the Ishmael Perez video where this, I won't say numpty. Oh, damn, I just did. Rocco was basically saying that Ishmael Perez knows more than me. I'm stupid, blah, blah, blah. And of course, then I went through and done a 10-minute video where pretty much everything that Ishmael says, I prove wrong. So anyway, finally, Rocco's now finally watched that video where I prove Ishmael wrong. And he wrote, wonder why you cut it so quickly. Well, it was 10 minutes, and once he said what he needed to say, I stopped it and then said my piece. So I don't know where you're going with that. And then you wrote, and yes, you are using tablet what tampered. I'm guessing what was tampered with by Thoth. So this person, I keep asking for evidence for things. So show me the evidence that Thoth tampered with the many tablets for the whole 10 minutes video that I done. When you realise you can't, which this person's just causing me problems, numpty. Sorry, wasn't going to do a follow-up, but someone said that they're really interested in finding out where it ends. So this gentleman said that I copied Sakurai Sitchin's work about the Anunnaki aliens that created us humans. And I said, actually, no, I don't. I go by other evidence, and then I proved that by offering him a link to a video that shows where I get all my information from, and it's not from Sakurai Sitchin. And I sort of basically in that video said, I'll probably make you look silly, but if you want to go down that road, let's dance. You put the coin in, I'll play the jukebox. Anyway, so that person then wrote back saying, I'm not silly, and then wrote that I'm now working for Deep State because I'm talking about aliens, and he obviously got upset. So this is the follow-up video of this person telling me now, because he obviously couldn't defeat me on the, I don't know, I just give up. So yeah, hopefully it ends now. This will amaze you. The BBC's literally admitted the Anunnaki were here and taught us in ancient times. Now look at this.
Arguably the most interesting, most sophisticated mathematical document from the ancient world. It tells us that past civilizations understood mathematics a lot better than we thought.
So he goes on to say that the Anunnaki, and I say Anunnaki because if you have a look here and then look at Enki, you'll see that only the main Anunnaki got actually carved. There was no point in carving, Joe Bloggs from down the road. So they actually animate an Anunnaki. They have different hats, which tells you who they are. So Enki's got the turban style one. I'm not quite sure who this one is. Could have been Nuggle or someone like that. But basically, they knew Pythagoras theorem before, obviously, Pythagoras went there and learnt it. So yeah, Anunnaki taught us with evidence. This lovely person keeps telling me to go and read stuff. And no matter how many times I say to him, look, please, I've done that, been there, got the t-shirt. In fact, the Book of Enoch, I've actually lectured on and found things that no one else has found in the Book of Enoch. And I can show you evidence of that. In fact, Go to my website, ourtruehistory.co.uk, scroll down to where it says click here. There's evidence. Now, I've also told you to go there, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and no one bothers. No one goes to see the evidence because they just keep coming out with this regurgitating as if I don't know what I'm talking about stuff. Also, the fallen ones were the Ajiji, the sons of the Anunnaki, which also translates into watchers in the sky. There's a few other names for the translation, but that's what the Ajiji are. So please stop trying, because you've been chatting backwards and forwards for over a month. Please just watch my videos. It's easier and you won't be lied to.